President Bush says we're ready to go to war in the Gulf now if we're provoked. He agrees with John Major there's nothing to negotiate about. Another Soviet leader attacks Gorbachev. His prime minister says if things don't change, his power won't save us. Good evening. President Bush said today that if there is any clear provocation from Iraq 10 minutes from now, the Allied forces in the Gulf are ready to respond vigorously. But he said Saddam Hussein still hadn't got the message. Mr. Bush was speaking after his talks with the Prime Minister John Major in Washington. There have been reports that the Allied forces wouldn't be ready to mount an attack even by January the 15th, the date from which the United Nations has authorized the use of force. Mr. Major said if there's going to be a conflict, it's up to Saddam Hussein.
The meeting between the leaders in the informality of the presidential retreat at Camp David went as well as expected for two notably pragmatic men. But there was grim seriousness on Iraq when Mr. Bush was asked if, contrary to statements by his deputy commander in the Gulf, General Waller, U.S. forces would be ready for combat by January the 15th deadline.
Put it this way. If there was some clear provocation 10 minutes from now, the Allied forces are ready to respond vigorously.
And from Mr. Major, the words the president wanted to hear, a new prime minister, but the same hard line towards Saddam Hussein.
I hope he takes seriously the fact that the Security Council resolutions will be enforced. If he moves out, there won't be a conflict. If he doesn't, well, he knows what the consequences may be.
I am convinced that Saddam
The cloud
Hussein...
thickening up to give some patchy rain, and then later on tomorrow afternoon, wet and windy weather coming back down across Scotland, across in towards Ireland too, and fairly windy weather, the wind's getting up to gale force, particularly along those Irish Sea coasts. But at least it's going to be another very mild day, up as high as 10 degrees Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit. That's it. Very good night.
This is the story of a winding road. It stretches back across 4,000 years and onwards, far out of our sight. It is the story of a people, and it is our story too, because we live in the same world of chance and change and infinite promise.
Tom Fleming tells the story of Christmas, with music from Paisley Abbey Choir and members of the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra. Gloria in Excelsis Deo, tomorrow at 10:05 on BBC One Scotland. Back to tonight, and at 11:45 we capture the exciting stage presence of Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart as they perform hits such as Sex Crime, There Must Be an Angel and Sweet Dreams. The Eurythmics filmed live in Sydney, Australia on the final leg of their revenge tour. Now there's Menace in Manhattan as Meryl Streep and Roy Scheider star in our psychological thriller, a film in which vice, passion and deceit sear through the still of the night.